Okay, so I'm going to apply It's a Keeper. I laid out my nails ahead of time to make it a little bit easier. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to peel off the clear label, set that aside. I'm going to peel it off of the white backing. What I'm going to do is show a method here. I'm going to lay it sideways so I can hold that. I'm going to tear off the little tab, put that off to the side, starting with my pinky, putting it right up against my cuticle. Going to rub it back and forth, and then I'm going to push it out to the edges, and I'm going to use my thumbnail, and I'm going to just gently pull that down and perforate it. I'm going to go ahead and take this other half and just set it quickly on the little white pad. And I'm going to take my thumbnail and I'm going to run it right along the cuticle here, because this strip was just a little bit wider than my pinky. But you see how easy it is to just perforate it and take off the little bit that's right on your cuticle. Right there is that little piece that was on the cuticle. I'm going to just put that on the side, and I'm going to perforate this. Rub that down, and that is one pinky done. Now I have this other side here, and I'm going to apply that on my other pinky. Right up to the cuticle, rub it. Other side, I'm going to rub it right over the edge. There's a reason you do your thumbnails last, because your thumbnail is a very handy tool for perforating along the edges, along the cuticle. So right there, we just push that right in, right up to the cuticle. Rub that in. You don't want it to be over the cuticle, because then as your nail starts to grow, it's going to lift a little bit. So make sure that your cuticle is pushed back as far as possible. Fold it over the edge, and again, your thumbnail is just going to perforate that. And off it comes. That easily. So two nails are done that quickly. And they're already dry. I mean, I can just play with this. I can rub it. And it is not going to mess it up. Now, there's two ways to do this. You can file the edges right away. And I'll do that on this one nail. And you just run that file downward, and that will take off the last little edges. This one I'm going to leave as it is right now, because if you leave it on just a little bit, 30 minutes maybe, if that, it will, if you stretch it to come up over your nail and you cut it right off right away, it may recede just slightly just from the tension of that initial stretch. So the one nail, and it's right up to the edge there. This one I'm going to wait to file until I finish all of the manicures. So I'm going to do my ring finger next. Peel off the plastic. Just lay that sideways right on there, just so I have something easier to hold on to. Tear the end. Right up to the cuticle. Now, if you have it sideways, pick it up, set it down again. They're about 95% dry, so you can reposition. right down to the edges there. I'm going to rub it back and forth. I'm going to push it up. Take my thumbnail and fold this down. And just use that to perforate the edge right off. Done. Now this is not going to be long enough to put on my other one, but I'm going to save it because I can use this on a couple of toenails. So we're going to set that aside. Run my thumbnail along the cuticle to make sure that's all cleaned up before it dries and sets. 2 nails done, totally dry. Now because I laid these strips out earlier, here's the one for my right ring finger. I keep my nails pretty short, but my nail beds are rather long, so sometimes I cannot get 2 nails out of 1 strip. But you know what? That's okay. Because there's still enough strips, I can either use what is left over as accent nails, or I can use them on my toes. Either way, it's still a great value for a manicure. Right up to the cuticle. Not over the cuticle, but I want it right up to the cuticle. And I'm going to just go ahead and make sure that this is over the nail. It looks like it's a little bit to the side, so I'm going to pull that back and make sure that I have it where it covers both sides of my nails. There we go. Use the thumbnail to perforate it. Put this little piece down. Save that for a pedicure. There we go. And I'm just going to rub it down. Take my thumbnail along the side, along the front. Four out of my 8 fingers done already. Look at that fast. Gonna line this up here so I can save this strip for something later. All right, onto my middle finger. Tear off that end. Right up to the cuticle. Use my thumbnail to perforate that down right on the edge. And this is not going to be long enough. It's close, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get a middle finger out of that, but I'm going to go ahead and rub this down and make sure it sticks well. It's telling me that my battery is running low, so I may not be able to get a complete manicure out of this. Let's see if we can. I don't know if I'm going to get a full nail out of that, so we're just going to go with a fresh piece. Tear the end off. Right up to the cuticle. Rub it down. thumbnail right along the edges. And like I said, I'm going to come back and I'm going to file these edges off when I finish everything. So we're up to the index finger already. Tear that end off. Sticky little suckers. Get it nice and smooth. The glitters are much more forgiving than the solid colors. So when you're first starting out, you may want to go with some glitters or a solid with a glitter overlay because they hide a multitude of errors. Go ahead and smooth that down. Take my thumb and clean up that edge. Your thumbnail is a marvelous tool for cleaning up these edges. That's 4 nails on one, 3 on the other. I'm going to go ahead and I like working on a towel because the little pieces that want to stick, I can just wipe it on the towel and then just toss the towel in the wash. Tear that end off. Right up to the cuticle. And you don't have to lay it sideways. It's just a different way of doing it. As you see, I did not even do that on this one here. But I will lay the excess back down on this white backing because this is enough to do 1 or 2 toenails and I can get a nice matching pedicure out of this. So I'll just stick that right back on there. Gonna rub this on, clean up that edge. Rub it over the edge. Make sure that I don't have it overlaying the cuticle here. Just pushing that back with the thumbnail. So there we have all of my fingers, and I just have my thumbs left to do. I'm just going to, since I've already perforated that, I'm going to just peel this piece that I perforated off. Sometimes it'll stick to my cuticles because my cuticles are a little bit rough. If you perforate it as you're applying it, and if you don't take it off until the morning, that's fine too, because if it's perforated, it will come off. Sometimes once it dries, those edges come off a lot easier. Alrighty, so the thumbnails, again, I've got everything laid out ahead of time. Peel that off. I'm going to slap that on sideways. Tear that off. Right up to the cuticle, rub it, rub it, rub it. Take my thumbnail and push it along the edges. Off it goes. That's over just a little bit, so I'm just going to take this thumbnail and push that down, and it's just cutting the little bit off that's hanging over the edge. There we go. And one more to go. And like I said, I'm going to go ahead and file all of these edges off once I finish. Gives them just a few minutes to set, and my edges won't chip or peel as easily. Sometimes if you are too quick to file it off, it kind of snaps back just a little bit if you've stretched it as you're applying it. Definitely have it over the cuticle here a little bit. And we're going to take this thumbnail, even though I just applied it here, and use that to cut this down. Pull that off, and we're going to slap this back onto the backing. And just perforate that right along the edge. Okay, I did this one nail, so now I'm just going to go through here. You can see it just cuts off the excess. Simple file, one direction, just file it down away from your nail, and that will remove the excess. And that is how easy it is to do your own manicures with Color Street. Just file those edges right down. File the edges right down. And there we go. One complete manicure.